Well, good Friday afternoon, everybody. It would help if I actually pull my guest in, so let me do that real quick. Bear with me, folks. We're going to go to share screen. We're going to go to Discord. How fucking rude of me. So there it is. All right, folks. Now you should be able to see Mr. Corey Cooper, Metroid Freak. I'm going to go ahead and, since this is our second time, I'm going to pass it right over to him. Let him introduce himself. He's going to tell you about some exciting new developments on what he's doing in the streaming and YouTube world. And then I'll do my introduction and we'll just rock and roll from there. So Corey, tell me a little bit about yourself, man.
Well, as previously mentioned last time, my name is Corey. In the streaming and YouTube world, it's kind of developing, but not as substantial as you made it probably seem to be. I just like to kick back and relax on some things. Want to start streaming more games and eventually progress to making YouTube content, but for now I'm taking it slow.
Slow is always best, I find it. Just, when you got a passion to do it, I always like to do it. When I don't do shit. Like, look at me, for example. I haven't put out an actual fucking review in what's probably been about a month and a half. I'm kind of on vacay on that front because I can't stop playing fucking Morrowind. But outside of that, eventually I'll get a bug up my ass to make one, and then we'll get one made. But now you're also doing, and we'll get into this more in the discussion, but you actually are doing some speed runs on Fusion and other Metroid games, right?
I am as Fusion, yeah, but other Metroid games, no. I plan on doing like a Prime trilogy playthrough, but not like a speed run of sorts. But with Fusion, since I kind of know that game like the back of my head, so that's what I kind of focus on.
Yeah, I know another guy like that. Now his series is Castlevania, but it's the Mad Belmont, and that
Yeah,
fucking guy can. I always tell him he can do like magic tricks with the holy water. Like there's that one hallway, there's that one corridor where you got like the fucking axe knights and the Medusa heads, and this guy literally just like moonwalks through this shit. It's crazy.
I am no good at Castlevania. I've only ever beat the fourth game.
Well, you picked a good one to beat. If you're beating one, Super Castlevania 4 is pretty close to peak in that series.
That's one of my favorite games of all time.
Oh, it's amazing. Great soundtrack on that fucking thing too. But anyway, I almost forgot to introduce myself. Not that people at this point probably aren't tired of it, but I go by Zoo. Manga Zoo is my handle, but I go by Zoo. It's just easier. I'm a strange internet ghost, the last kid on the internet, a dread harbinger. I am like you, uh, Corey, a physical caveman, and we'll get into that. You got into a little bit of interesting fun on Twitter that I followed that was pretty fun on that. Not 6'1", and my newest one, Mr. Albo graced me with the moniker Faceless Fuck, which I quite like. So
All right then.
yeah, he said pull the fuck up, Faceless Fuck. So it's like, all right,
Yeah.
That one makes the wall. That one's pretty fucking good.
Yeah, I recently got into a Twitter argument with somebody about physical games, so that was great.
Yeah, so that means you get to join me in the blocked for being a physical caveman club. So,
Well, I just tried to explain things. That was a good time. I tried to explain things with like actual proof, and he just didn't want to hear it.
well, I mean, here's the amazing thing. Like, I can be a curmudgeonly old bastard. You've seen me go on Twitter, but
Mhm.
you actually didn't really say anything wrong. Like with you and that guy, you're just like, well, actually, you don't need. It's not just a storage facility for the game. It's not like a download for the game. So no, you're just not correct. There's lots of PlayStation games. There's lots of Switch games that aren't just used, basically to transfer data onto the system. Um, I can vouch for you. And in fact, I believe I did in that particular case. Like, no, I've got over 400 of these, my guy, that literally I can play without having anything on the disc.
Well, yeah, the Switch is different than, like, say, the PlayStation 5, because the Switch has the physical cartridge that doesn't need to spin up or be installed, really.
Right.
You can just play it off the cartridge. But with the physical discs on PlayStation and sometimes Xbox, I don't really buy new Xbox physical games, but The way that they work is that most games contain the version 1.0 on the disk.
Right.
And since the disk drives are so slow on the Series X and PS5, that's why they can't read the data off the disk like how they used to on previous gen consoles. So they have to be installed on an SSD to read it fast. The disk then acts as a key to verify, hey, you have the license and you need it to play the games, but the disk usually contains the data that needs to be installed. So, for instance, if you send me a game that you have installed on your system, I can take that game, install it on my system, and as long as I keep the disk, I can play it. He was saying all disks just give you a digital code, but then guess what? When you take out the disk, you can't play the game because it needs that license, that key that's on the disk. Hence why the physical version exists on disk
And
to
yeah,
play.
there's some games like that, but again, not every game, and certainly not on the Switch.
Yeah,
So and
not a lot on Switch. One notable game franchise that comes to mind is Call of Duty. Most of the Call of Duty games nowadays are just the license. And for example, like Modern Warfare 3, it's the license. But if you buy that game brand new, it actually installs version 1.0 of the Modern Warfare 2 game, like the reboot of Modern Warfare 2.
right,
It doesn't install Modern Warfare 3 because Modern Warfare 3 is technically considered DLC. And yeah, and
wow.
that's only about a gigabyte of data on disk, mostly just the licensing and the like some small content packs. Otherwise, there's no data, there's no campaign, there's no multiplayer on the disk. There hasn't been games on disk really since I want to say World War II in 2018 or 2017, whenever that one came out. The last full, I think, Call of Duty release was Infinite Warfare.
Well, and how could they with the unoptimized pieces of garbage that Activision puts out these days?
Yeah, I
What's it like?
stopped buying Call of Duty.
What is it like? Fucking 70, 80 gigabytes for on the now? Isn't that some
Um,
crazy
I
for a
bought Modern
shooter?
Warfare 3 digitally on Series S, and just to have like the hub, like the Call of Duty hub that they're doing, it's not like you can't even like. Let me rephrase. Like just the Call of Duty hub where you can access Modern Warfare 3, 2, and the classic Call of Duties that support it. It's 200 gigabytes, and that's
Two
before
hundred gigabytes for a
that's
shooter game.
before that's before you install even the campaign or even the multiplayer or the zombies or the co-op in Modern Warfare 2.
See,
Those are separate packs.
and buddy, that's what I'm talking about. When I talk to people and I tell them that, hey, they're not using this new hardware to make better games for the most part. They're using this hardware to produce. That tells me there's more spaghetti code than actual fucking code in that game.
Yeah, no.
Like
Yeah,
that is insanity.
it's pretty appalling of how they're treating their franchise. But at the same time, I guarantee the next game that's going to come out this year won't be on disc anymore. I can just see it because the discs are just useless.
Yeah, I mean, why would they? I mean, at that point, save the fucking plastic, right?
Yeah, I
Save
mean
the rest of
it
the.
sucks because I want to go back and like I have an Xbox One X and I've been buying Xbox One games to like
Sure.
preserve them. So I might go back to from Infinite Warfare all the way to Call of Duty 2, get those physically because I enjoy the older ones, but also because they actually contain stuff on the disc.
These guys just don't give a fuck about games as art. They really don't.
Yeah, and now that they're owned by Xbox and Microsoft, seeing as Microsoft is pivoting towards a digital only uh, ecosystem, I just don't see physical games being printed from Activision anymore. Well, at least Call of Duty.
Well, it's a real problem too because like what do we have? Like in video games, like the big lobbying firm is like the ESRB. So we have like the industry lobbying and we've got the companies, but we don't have any like for example in film because film's a much older medium, right? You have an actual government database that's like preserve filming to where it's like mandated to where like certain films be preserved in certain ways, especially for older films. You've got that for books. You've certainly got that for movies. You've got different government institutions that specifically preserve those art forms. But with video games, we don't have jack shit, man. And part of it is because of the age of the medium, I feel like. But the other part of it is absolutely the unmitigated greed and just a lack of give a fuck by the ESRB and these game companies as well. And Nintendo's also not immune from that. I've got to call out Nintendo on that too. Nintendo is constantly doing shit
Is
against any type of preservation of their games.
Yeah, as much as I hate talking crap about Nintendo because they're my favorite game company.
Me too.
Yeah, I mean they're probably like one of the worst aspects because they release some of their classic games, but then they stop others from like being released, or they hate on like I guess the emulator nonsense, not just for the Switch, but in general they shut those down. They try
Yeah.
to at least,
Yeah.
and then they
Um,
refuse to sell those games because I guess they don't want to bring back the virtual console so for some reason. So
well, and I have theories as to why that is. Basically, like I tell people, it's like why are they Disney vaulting this shit? Why are they putting it behind a paywall? Number one, it is like the only fucking reason you would ever have to actually have Nintendo Online, because Nintendo's online service is light years behind anything you can do on PC or Xbox or Sony or any of the other.
Nintendo has always been terrible online.
Yeah. So that's their value offer is, hey, here's the Nintendo Vault games. We're gonna Disney Vault. The other thing is, like, and why we'll never ever see a physical game on any of those again is, video games don't just compete with other video games. Video games don't that are in their field. Video games compete with everything because the ultimate currency is time. Let's say you're Super Mario Brothers Wonder, right? Let's say you're Metroid Dread. As much as I fucking love that game, do you want to compete with Mario Brothers 3? Do you want to compete with? Would you want to compete with Super Metroid? I fucking wouldn't. Even as good as those games can be, I wouldn't want to compete with those games. And so,
Metroid Dread over Super Metroid. Just saying.
oh, me too, 100%. But but I'm talking about like the perception of Super Metroid is this just legendary fucking
Yeah, no,
experience
I
at
get
this
it.
point. I wouldn't
A
want to
lot of
compete with
people
that.
would. Yeah, they'd gravitate towards the more popular, I
Sure.
guess.
And they're, like you said, they're fucking wrong because Dread is just incredible.
Yeah.
So as much as I loved Super Metroid, and I gave it a glowing review when I wrote it up on the hub, I gotta tell you, homie, like, the game's too fucking easy. Number one, and part of that, like, people have said I'm unfair with Super Metroid. I want to get your opinion as a Metroid aficionado.
Well,
So,
I'm sure you've seen. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
oh no, you're okay. But long story short, what I wanted to basically touch on is people are unfair. They say I'm being unfair to it because they're like, well, you've played Super Metroid, what, 100, 200 times? And that's true, but I don't think that's why I perceive it as being easier. I think compared to like OG Metroid or Dread, I just think the game's a fucking cakewalk.
Yeah. The OG Metroid is like hard because it's cheap and there's no map screen, which obviously in 1986 probably technical limitations,
Leads to
but
the experience, homie. It makes it that's a boost to the experience.
yeah. And then Dread. Dread was that was brutal. My first playthrough.
Oh, Dread's awesome. Yeah, Dread has some of the best boss fights in the series. The difficulty is
Yeah, a
mwah,
lot of
chef's
people
kiss.
hate the quick time events, which I'm not really a big fan of either in the boss fights, but I mean, it adds spectacle, and that's kind of like what Mercury Steam did with the Castlevania game on 3DS, so they kind of just copied that. But I mean,
Right,
I don't
and
mind it, but if you had the choice, I would rather just take down the boss in one phase as opposed to like several phases.
100%. Now, my understanding is if you're good enough, and maybe I'm just not good enough, there are ways to skip some of those phases.
I Yeah, I believe so, but I don't sequence break Dread. I actually,
Yes,
when I play it as intended.
and here's the thing too on that, like the fact that it just seems to be like Mercury Steam understood exactly what everybody wanted in a Metroid game. They understood like the series roots of Metroid being kind of that more elite experience for Nintendo. They understood they literally built sequence breaking in, whereas in other games it was accidental. Mercury Steam actually gave you like official avenues to sequence break. It just seems overall to just be this really fucking kind of a once in a generation experience. I don't think we'll see another one like it because as Metroid Prime 4 News Daily is fond of saying, hey, this is Metroid Prime 4 News Daily. Today's Metroid Prime 4 news is there is no Metroid Prime 4 news. So
Yeah, I enjoy seeing that being retweeted.
it's so funny. It's every fucking day. So I don't
But
know. I don't know when that fucking game's gonna drop. You would expect it maybe this year, since it might be one of the Switch's last years. But
I'm almost guaranteeing we're gonna at least see something about it this year. I just have a feeling like it's
I
been
fucking
long
hope
enough.
so, man. Because yeah, video
But
games are a momentum-based business, and Metroid is not a top seller anyway. So
yeah, I'm
I
surprised they honestly didn't release like a 2D collection right after Dread or shortly after. I don't know why we had to wait a year and a half to get Prime Remastered.
I don't know. I almost feel like by the time Prime 4 comes out, especially because again, it's not traditionally a super high selling franchise. I kind of feel like by the time it comes out, nobody will give a fuck at that point.
Uh, I think people will buy it just because it's like one of those long, I guess, development games, kind of like Duke Nukem Forever, but not as like severe. But
And I hope
people will
you're
be
right.
curious about it. But I'm not. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not hyped about it at all because we don't know anything about it
Well, not only do we not know anything about it, but it's been how many fucking years, man?
since
Like,
like 7 years.
God, like that is some serious development hell. Now I understand that they had to
Hi,
basically
Mark.
start from scratch. Oh, Mark Martoni, welcome in, man. Welcome in.
Yeah,
Thanks for coming
he's one
in.
of my real life friends.
Awesome. Well, welcome in the stream, man. Glad you're here. And my understanding is they had to basically start from scratch and basically they because I guess it was Sakamoto's internal team that was handling it. Correct me if I'm wrong. And apparently the progress wasn't great on it, so they basically booted them off and basically punted it over to Retro. Is it my
I
understanding?
mean, I don't think anybody knows concrete details, but that's what I've heard is that Bandai Namco was developing it and they just weren't happy with it.
Well, yeah, you got to do what you got to do, and I respect the decision. It's better to do that than to release a shit game because, God, Metroid can't handle another shit game after Other M. It can't. They fucking can't do it.
Yeah,
Um,
it just we'll
yeah,
get it when we get it, but
yeah.
just
Last thing you want to do is piss away all that goodwill that Dread brought back to the series.
yeah, that you do, especially for the newcomers. Do you want to try to retain those?
All righty, so we were kind of having an interesting discussion that we're waiting for this to elaborate for. So, you said basically that the Metroid Fusion suit is the best suit. You stand by that, right?
Oh, I thought we were talking about Super. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I
Okay.
no, I've loved that suit since the game came out. I just like the aesthetic. I'm a big fan of the color blue, so that's part of the reason why I like it. But I also like just the way it looks. It looks foreign. It looks different, and that was the point they were going for.
It is a rad suit. I'll give you that. Um, in terms of my take on it, I'm not gonna try to talk you out of the Fusion suit, because
It's
Fusion suit
okay.
is a rad suit, but
You won't win anyway.
right. So, well, I still want to give a college try to kind of throw out there the Varia suit. The reason I say the Varia suit is I'm a fan of mythology. I'm a fan of Samus's character as a bounty hunter, and the image and maybe it's because I was an OG Metroid guy, but I just kind of tie Samus to that big fucking bulky armored suit. And also, there's this image in mythology, whether it's Burrito Mart, whether it's Hua Mulan, there's always this image in mythology of a woman warrior kind of taking her helmet off and letting her hair flow over the armor. And and I'm not saying he can't do that with the fusion suit, but the fusion suit is sleek. And it seems like Sakamoto to me has, ever since he took over from Gunpei Yokoi, has slowly but surely did everything he could to kind of take her out of like the big tank and basically put her in like the bimbo ninja suit. And I'm not saying the fusion suit is the bimbo ninja suit, far from it, but it just seems a lot more sleek than that big tank armor that I'm just so used to Samus being. And maybe that's just me being a little fuddy duddy, but I also like that mythological roots as well of that classic painting, the Fairy Queen.
Yeah, I'm not big on the knowledge of mythology, probably like you are, but I think they were just quoted as saying, "Hey, let's change it up." So they did it just because they could.
Well, and sometimes you just need that change of pace just to make the work you're doing interesting. They
Well,
probably been working with the fucking Varia suit for what 15 years at that point. So
um, roughly, but you got to keep in mind from '94 to 2002, I would imagine that was a lot of like ideas being thrown around. So
I've still got to play. Still, absolutely have to play Metroid Fusion. I've been meaning to do it. You told me about it. I put it on a list. You're not the only one that's told me about it. Um,
on Switch NSO, so
I know that's the only thing that's keeping me from it is I don't have a damn physical of it. But I might break my rule, and I might end up with Nintendo Switch Online just to try Fusion. I'm
I
gonna have.
mean, I would try it, and then if you are interested in it, get a physical copy
Sure, that's a
because
good. That's a good strategy.
those are going up in value.
I
Ever since
know.
Dread came out, the cartridges have been. Although there are two cartridge versions of that game. There's one that actually has like no save battery, like it saves on like an I don't know what it's called, but it saves on the cartridge. And then there's a later revision that actually has a save battery, so you have to keep that in mind too.
Yeah, that's one thing that like you and you're one of those guys that really does a lot of good work with like the different cartridges, and the
I
revisions and
only I only do what I see. I don't do this research. I look at people's researches and I make decisions.
so you're looking at like does it play Nintendo revised that
Yeah,
kind of
I
thing.
look. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Well, I tell
and
you
I
what,
just
you're good at getting the word out because sometimes, and I follow those guys too. But Corey, you can't discount a good share. That's one of the
yeah. I
things.
try
And
to.
sometimes I miss them, and then I see yours, and it's like, oh shit, there it is. And
Yeah, I try. I'm a big stickler, or not stickler, like big believer in proper editions of games, especially when it comes to physical games. Because one, if you have the best version of the game, that's going to be in higher demand. So people, if you ever decide to sell your games, you can charge that just much more if you ever decide to. But two, for personal use, you'd obviously want the best version of the game possible. So
man, the Switch is gonna be a fucking. It's gonna be a
I
goddamn nightmare when it comes to the
some of
retail
these
market.
games are just going to be insanely expensive, and if you have
Whoa.
say some of these cartridge revisions, I definitely think that you'll be getting more because more people are getting into this. I've come like when I search revisions on eBay, I get messages all the time saying, "Oh, it's this one," or "Wow, you're like the fifth person to ask me." People are learning about these revisions. So once the Switch dies out and no more games are being produced, yeah, I expect these revisions to go up in value.
Well, I mean, on top of that, you got the revised cartridges, and you've got all the limited print shit.
Yeah,
Um,
I shared my limited run games collection. I used to have more. I've sold some games in the past, but that's kind of the stuff that I've held on to.
Yeah, I've got to go to my shelf. I've got a ton of limited run game shit, and so I'm gonna take a picture. I'll do your challenge and put that up there because I think that's a fun thing to do, just to see how many of their how much money they've gotten from me over the year.
They're gonna keep getting my money. So I mean, there's still games that I want them to make,
So
but I don't.
me too, 100%. I've actually got a wish list of like Bulletstorm. I would love for fucking
Yeah,
Bulletstorm.
I want that. I want the Duke Nukem 20th anniversary.
Yes, yes.
I want a physical version of Spider-Man remastered on PS5.
Ooh,
Like
that'd be good.
I have the disc on PS4. I have the digital version on PS5 because I got it with my Miles Morales copy. But I'd still, even though I 100%ed platinum that game, I want a copy on my shelf.
So you're kind of my guy to go to for some of the Sony franchises that I don't get to experience. How did we like Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man Miles Morales? How were those games? How they stack
Uh,
up to the first one?
what's up, Chill Collects? How are you?
Hey, Joe Alexa's in the chat too. Yeah, we gotta get. Yeah, what's going on, Chill? Thanks for coming in.
Personally, let's start at the beginning. I got the original Spider-Man in 2018 when it came out. I played maybe a little bit of it and
Okay,
stopped playing it because that's what I do. I get a game, play it, stop, go
you're
to another
just like
game.
me, man. The
I I'm,
backlog.
I'm trying so hard to stop that, but anyway,
I'm like a dog chasing cars, man. Every time I stop, I'm grabbing another game off the.
yeah. And so 2020 rolls around, get Miles Morales, get the code for the remaster. I play through the remaster and I loved it. Like it was a great game, and that ending always hit me. I did not expect it because it wasn't spoiled for me, so I'm really glad. And then I played through Miles Morales, and that game is just as good as the remaster. Like it cleans up some things. It just makes it overall a more playable experience. And the remaster added actually the trick system when you web into the let me rephrase. Miles Morales has the trick system, and they
Okay,
brought it into the remaster. Is what I'm trying to say. So it's more
nice.
fluid.
Now,
Um,
My understanding is in Spider-Man 2, they kind of bring Peter and Miles' story together, right?
Yeah, it's kind of a culmination because Miles Morales and the ending of Spider-Man 1 kind of teased what was happening. But yeah, they brought them two together and you switch between them in the story.
Okay. Yeah, I see. I thought they were going to pass it to Miles, and they sort of did with the Miles Morales game.
Well,
But
I don't want to give anything away because the game is still relatively new.
yeah, and I'll play
And
it. I actually played Spider-Man. That's one of the ones I did play, and
yeah,
I love the shit out of Spider-Man.
yeah. Miles Morales doesn't really like. I mean, it leans into Spider-Man 2, but it's not like, oh, you have to play this one to fully understand. Like, it will
Right.
help the story, but you can go from 1 to 2. But I don't want to talk about the ending of 2. But it was great, but I don't think it had that same emotional impact as the original.
Got it. Yeah. Doctor. Well, we don't want to spoil for folks, but I mean, it's the
I
main
would.
the main villains in Spider-Man 1 are all very well done. I feel like.
Yeah, they were treated well in the game, and not going into spoiler territory, but me personally, people know that Craven's in the game because he was like a big like
Right. So we can talk about Craven.
selling
Yeah.
point. I personally thought Craven was way overdone. Like, he
Oh,
was
okay.
in so much of the game, I kind of got tired of him by the end.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Without going into spoilers, like, I personally just got tired of it.
Yeah. Maybe give it to some other folks.
Yeah.
Guys, maybe give it to some other villains.
But no, I mean, like, if say Miles Morales in the original were like 10 out of 10s, I'd give Spider-Man 2 like a 9. Like, I thought it was great. I still platinumed the game.
So,
Um,
so quick aside, Mark Martoni says I love the Metroid Prime 2 Echo's dark suit. Take a look at that real quick. Give me 1 second
no,
here.
the dark suit is the ugliest suit in the in one of the franchise. To be honest, I hate the brown. I like the visor color. I love orange, but the dark suit is ugly, and I've always hated it. Especially with the freaking booster jump thing when you get it and to go underwater, like that version's gravity suit. No,
It
I
just
don't.
looks like a brown Varia suit to me.
It's I personally I've never been a big fan of it, and I've been playing that game since it came out in 2004.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. I mean Varia suit is my favorite suit, but I mean it just seems like a brown version of that. It doesn't look, it doesn't offend me, but yeah, it's not my favorite by
It
far.
doesn't offend me either. I just nope. I
Right.
and you're in it for most of the game too, which sucks.
Oh, so there's not much of a change in suits or anything like that. I can see why
No.
people would like. I can see why you'd like it though, Mark, for sure. I just like that. I just like that nice red with the shoulder pads.
Yeah, the brown kills it.
The
Because the game's already drab. Like, the game lacks the color of the original and Prime 3, which is kind of corresponding with its dark atmosphere, which I get. It's just, for a drab game, having a drab suit color kind of hurts.
Doesn't Metroid Prime 2 try to do the light world, dark world thing that like Link to the Past does?
Yes.
Okay, that's what
That's its
that's what I
gimmick.
thought. See, and I'm sure there's a good storytelling reason behind it, but I would have to know more before I rendered a judgment on that.
It's
It seems like an out of the ordinary thing to do for a Metroid game, I guess.
it's a war of light and dark, to put
Okay,
it as best as I can, like, without going too deep.
okay. And again, I'm all for Samus exploring planets. Like that's actually what she was supposed to fucking do before Sakamoto got a fucking bug up its ass and decided she's not a bounty hunter. She's a hero. He
Yeah,
screamed at Retro Studios.
I just play
She's not a
games.
bounty hunter. She's a hero.
I just played the games.
And I'm glad that we're back to bounty hunting now. But yeah, so I could see like maybe Crash Landing on a Dark World. Again, I'd have to play it in order to render a final judgment. It when I heard about that, it seemed weird to me.
I
Like
mean,
that.
Prime 2 is still a top tier experience. Like, that's a top 5 Metroid game for me. It's just
When do you think
I don't know.
Nintendo is going to give those to us?
For Switch, I mean, I'm hoping this year. If Jeff Grubb is correct in his month of Metroid in May, we'll find out.
Yeah. So what's going on in May? Is there something special with the Metroid? I feel like I should
He's
know this.
he's he's rumoring that there's going to be like a big push for Metroid in May. Nothing's been confirmed. Nothing's
Okay.
been leaked about it, but he's saying like, oh, Nintendo's going to push pretty hard in May for Metroid.
So it's May. It's Metroid.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo makes that like that.
Yeah, Nintendo
But I
does
mean,
like to do their little anniversary type stuff.
we shall see how it goes.
Yeah, again, like I'm kind of like you. I'm just stone faced till it actually happens, man.
Right. This franchise has been such a roller coaster. It's unbelievable.
For sure. You think we'll get a movie? Think it's big enough?
They were supposed to be making a movie in the late 2000s, but I guess that was supposed to happen, but it never did.
Well, they probably got scarred. I from what I gather, like they got really movie scarred based on the original Super Mario Brothers movie.
I mean, seeing as the animated movie worked great, and if this live-action Zelda movie they're making turns out all right, then I'm sure they'll push for another franchise.
I think a Metroid movie would be really good.
Uh,
Could be.
I mean, it could be. I think it'd work better animated, personally.
Animated would be good too. Yeah, I'm not even tied to live action on the Metroid movie. In fact, animated would be really dope. Like actually like give it like a good like Studio Bones or like David like anime aesthetic. I think that'd be fucking badass. Westernize it a little bit because it's based on Alien. And make it like a survival story. Make it a Samus Aran surviving on a hostile world full of hostile. That could be a fucking do it like survival movie style. It'd be fucking badass, man.
I don't know. We shall find out. I'm hoping that'd be pretty cool in my lifetime, but I don't think Metroid has that reach.
Yeah, it's just again, I'm not going to say it's not an important franchise to Nintendo because it fills a very special niche in their actual gaming menu. But yeah, in terms of the sales, like we got to pump those numbers up, rookies. Like we got to get them up.
They know how much money I'm willing to spend, so bring that 2D collection to Switch.
Yes, I wish they would.
I will buy those games a third time. I have no problem with that.
Yeah, I'll pay you whatever you want for them. Like that's.
I mean, I paid $60 for the Mario All Stars collection on Switch, so.
Yeah, Mario, and I still got to get to that. Like, I still got to get to that Mario 3D All Stars. I hear mixed things about that. I hear that there's some good stuff. I hear that there's some bad stuff about it. It's still a fucking steal to have all three of those games on one cart.
Yeah, and it was a limited time release. So if you wanted a physical copy, if you don't have one, you're going to be shelling out like $80.
Yeah, I hear you already are, aren't you? Like, haven't they already got like inflated prices on those? And it's still, I mean, you can still find it.
As soon as it was discontinued. Well, you used to be able to find it after it was discontinued, but you can't find it in stores now. But yeah, looking at listings right now.
Okay.
$80, $70.
Christ.
Somebody's selling them for $125 for some reason. But pre-owned copies, at least the Japanese versions, are like $57, $80 or $60.
Still above what we paid.
It's the North American version that I don't know what it is about ESRB games, but just people reselling American copies of games on eBay. It's just insane, and I don't understand why.
Yeah, I'm not partial to it. Like, I like to have the ESRB if I can, but as long as it's got that fucking English on the cartridge, I'm not shy. I'll plug down for a Japan or a Euro edition, even with that puke green. I don't care.
I'm guilty of selling games at a higher price when things were like that. Like, I think we all have thought about it at the very least. Like, oh, if I buy this, if I hold on to it, I can sell it. But
sure.
When it comes to like three, just a convenient collection of 3 Mario games that you can still buy individually, it's just kind of silly. And it's kind of like that Final Fantasy Pixel remaster. Like
that's fucking stupid, man.
That the pre-orders went live in 1 a.m. And I'm so mad that I missed it because I was trying to get that. Luckily, PlayAsia has like their versions now, but I would have killed to have like one of the North American copies because I like having that logo. But now people are selling the ESRB version, like this listing, just the cartridge by itself, brand new, like in the case sealed, is $750. Just because it has the logo, the rating logo. That's it. The North American version inside of the game is a white, like
it's worse.
White.
It's worse than the Japanese one.
The PlayAsia Asian version that I got actually has sprites from all the games inside the.
Hey, I will tell you, actually got the better. I was furious.
No, I was. I was happy to get the other version. I'm not
Yeah,
like
here's the amazing thing about that. So I actually somehow miraculously or anti-miraculously, given the state of that edition, I was up and I was when that thing went live, I was on Twitter and I saw it go live, and I was able to get one ordered. And lo and behold, I get one. It's like, wait a second. So this ESRB one I paid for like the stupid shipping for on their stupid fucking website, and yeah, didn't even get the interior art, like the inlay art. It's like, come on,
you
man.
still
Like,
have it.
I do have it.
I mean, I'll trade you.
Ah, $700. Now is that the special edition or is that the regular
That's
basic big
literally
chat?
just a sealed copy of the game.
Well,
No vinyl record, no stickers, just the actual game itself.
it's fucking crazy.
Somebody selling one graded. Well, let me.
I hate that shit too. That
I,
shit.
I games are not meant to be like this. This is why I hate collecting. But somebody
Good
selling
lord.
a 9.6 graded copy for $12,000.
They're grading modern games now.
Yeah, I absolutely despise this because one, games are
Me
not
too.
meant to be sealed. They're meant to be played. Like I
Yeah.
get that you can collect games like I do and still have them used or open and played. Like selling them or grading them just to sell them at a higher profit is that's something that I won't stoop to.
Well, and that's a market that has a lot of that market has crashed. If you follow like Carl Jobst and some of that stuff.
Yeah, it's just still the retro gaming market in America has not popped yet, and it makes me upset because I thought it would have by now.
Well, and it makes me upset for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's absolute just profiteering in the most disgusting way possible. Number two, when you seal those games up in a plastic coffin like that and you make all these retro games sky high, it makes them inaccessible to an entire generation of gamers that can't experience that, not regularly and not on the native hardware. And that really depresses the shit out of me because there's some incredible experiences in the 16-bit and the 8-bit era, even in the 64 and 32-bit era, and it's just prohibitively fucking expensive now, man.
Yeah, and that's why I stopped buying Super Nintendo games. I stopped buying N64 games. Like I used to have all the N64 games, but regardless, if I wanted to buy another game that was expensive, I just can't do it anymore. Like when for instance, I had
Not at
Clay
these
Fighter
prices.
Sculptor's Cut. Yeah, I had Clay Fighter Sculptor's Cut in 2019. I paid $325 for it,
Holy shit.
and now the cartridge by itself. Let me pull it up. I think the cartridge by itself, if it loads, sells for about $1,000.
That's insane.
Yeah,
That's just a few years.
yeah, and if you have a complete copy, like boxed and all that, for some reason, somehow it sells for 8,000, 10,000. Somebody's selling like one that's in like near mint condition for $150,000, but I think that's just an intention listing.
Let me take a
But
look at some because I my
yeah,
NES and my Super Nintendo collection. I
it's
got
just
the bulk of those games back in like 2005 to like 2012, right?
yeah. I wish I would have started collecting a lot sooner.
And let me see, like just for an example, Chrono Trigger. What's that going for now?
Somebody selling a receipt for Clay Fighter Sculptor's Cut that they bought at a Blockbuster in what's the date? 2004. They bought it for $9.98, and they're selling the receipt for $1,000.
Well, that's got to be a reproduction cartridge there. There's no fucking way.
Yeah, if
35,
it's
35,
yeah,
25 for Chrono Trigger on SNES.
no, yeah. If the price is stupidly cheap, then it's a reproduction.
I was gonna say that's too good to be fucking true.
But I just
Let me try
it makes me
Earthbound. Try
it
Earthbound
makes
real quick.
Earthbound. I think is like a $300 cartridge now.
Yeah, I got my Earthbound for $40. Had a little bit of a torn label, but I was able
I
to get
used to
mine.
actually have the cartridge, but I had to sell it a while ago.
Yeah, I had my I had to sell the cart back my original cartridge I had. But I kept I've still got the guide with the scratch and sniff stickers, and I still got the big box.
You could
And then
definitely sell that for a pretty penny.
oh yeah, and then I did find the cartridge again later for like $40 with a torn label. Um, like so I have the full set now again. But Earthbound in particular is a game that just means a lot to me because I was going through it. Like, you may be like, how the fuck can like a second grader be going through shit or whatever grade I was fucking in at that year.
Things can affect you at any age.
Yeah, I lost my iguana. I took my iguana outside and he got away, and I was so fucking guilty feeling.
Uh, I can imagine.
Oh God, and it's so funny because like my parents tell the story that like they would tell me they're like, well, Iggy's smart, Ost. He probably ended up coming and finding another house before the winter. Yeah, fucking lizard died. You know that lizard died. There's an iguana in fucking Illinois. It's not going to survive the winter. And I knew that deep down. Like,
Yeah,
so I was going through it. I was really depressed after that. And two games that same year came along. It was that I got was Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Earthbound. And literally pulled me out of my funk.
yeah.
So
I don't I don't really know if I have any games that pulled me out of a funk, but I mean, a lot of the games I own help me out.
yeah,
Like whenever I get burnt out on games, I'll boot up my Super Nintendo, play Super Mario World or something.
Super Mario World just such a fun game. Mario in general, any of those old school Mario's. What did you think of Wonder by chance? I always like
Uh,
to ask people this.
I only made it to World 2, so I can't really give a comment. But
Okay.
once I get my cartridge revision that I bought, I'm going to play it.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that on a round three. I'm very mixed on Wonder. Unlike a lot of our contemporaries that just loved it to death. Um, it just feels slow to me. And
I think it visually looks great, but
oh,
I just can't.
visually, it's incredible. I love the Flower Kingdom. Like, I absolutely love that we're in this new area that has its own kind of lore and has its own world building, and it's real different, varied levels that are a little bit different than the standard themes. Um, I love some of the enemy variety. I love some of the wonder gimmicks. It just doesn't have that, and I'm not asking for like Metroid levels of difficulty here, but it just doesn't have that ramp up in difficulty.
Well, yeah, Mario games have never been hard.
Mario 3 is can be pretty fucking brutal in the end game. So World 7 and 8 can be pretty brutal.
I've been playing those games for years, so I can breeze through it.
Yeah, and I'm probably better than most too because I replay those games every year, and that might be, and maybe that's part of it. Because OJ was mentioning that might be. He's like, well, you ever consider that you're a Mario mega fan? And you just play these games too much.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I get that new people might have struggle with it, and I understand that because if you're not familiar with the game, of course you're going to
Sure,
struggle with
sure,
it.
and of course they want everybody to play these games, so I get it. But what I will challenge anybody to do, and I'll challenge you to do, is go look up a bullet bill blasting across the screen in Mario Brothers 3 or World, and then go look at it in New Super and Wonder. And it looks like it's going about half fucking speed. Like everything seems to be just moving at half speed. I don't know what it is. Where a bullet bill can fucking clip your ass. It can knock you the fuck out in those old games if you're not careful. I've never had a problem with a bullet bill in Wonder, even in like the special stage, like where the bullet
Yeah,
bills were flying. Like
yeah, those games.
they
I
just
think
puttered.
I think they traded length for difficulty because at that time games were a lot easier to make. I guess if you want to say it like that. I don't.
I think that's a good theory. Yeah, basically that they were very limited in what they could fit on a cart, and so to make up for it, they had to up the ante a little bit on difficulty in order to make the game more and more playable. Yeah, I can see that. What I would tell them is just don't discount difficulty. Is look at a game like Dark Souls that just sells and sells and sells and sells. Not even that fucking hard, but it's got enough of a bite. It's got enough of a challenge to kind of titillate the gamer's experience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
That's an interesting word. Um,
I
but
haven't played that. I mean, I have it on Switch. I just haven't played it yet.
Dark Souls is good. Dark Souls is one of my favorite games of all time.
I'm just afraid to.
Well, I can't bring myself to go replay it. That's the thing. I just because it's just one of those really really awesome experiences. I literally bought a PlayStation 3 for that fucking game. Um, didn't play much else on it, which I know Rush Dogs. If he was here, he'd be excoriating me right now, saying I've got to do it. He wants me to play. What does he want me to play? Metal Gear Solid 4. He's wanting me to play.
I still need to play through that myself because I love Metal Gear Solid 2, and 4 is a direct sequel to 2, so I need to play that one day.
Yeah, it's one on my list too, just because Rush Dog said it's really good. Um, oh, you'll be excited. I'm going to be playing The Last of Us Part Two finally.
I mean, I like The Last of Us Part Two. It's not as
hmm
good as the first one, but I enjoy it.
It's gonna be hard to beat the first one. The first one is just so tight. It's
Uh,
just so tight with what it does.
yeah,
Um,
I mean, gameplay wise, the second one kind of just edges it out because you can do a lot more stuff. But story
right.
wise, eh.
Just not quite the heights, but fuck, if you can get if the game can get 80% there, it'll still be one of the all time goats. Like,
Well, do you know anything about it?
unfortunately, I know a lot about it.
Gotcha. Well, then I don't need to say anything.
Yep, unfortunately, I know a lot about it, but and that sucks. But a game that was that controversial, like I kind of blame myself for that. You're not gonna be able to go without spoilers on a game. You're just not gonna be
Right,
able to do
and the
it.
game leaked like a month before it came out, so
That was a shame. I feel bad for Naughty Dog on that.
yeah,
Like
I
that.
tried to avoid it, but my brother kept telling me, and I'm just like, all right, thanks.
Oh, kick him in the fucking nuts, man. That's
It's,
terrible.
it's okay. It's no big deal.
Yeah, I'm not. Here's the thing. Like for me, a lot of people get really tense about spoilers. I can play a game with spoilers. Like if the story's good, the story's going to be good whether it's spoiled or not. A good story still be able to go into, but still, if you can go in with that added surprise, it definitely adds something to the experience. I feel like.
Yep, kind of like how I did with Spider-Man. I didn't know the ending, and it wasn't spoiled for me. And it was bam, like didn't
Have you got
expect
to
it.
try Rise of the Ronin yet?
I'm gonna probably wait for a sale on that.
Yeah, it looks. I mean, it looks okay, but I'm gonna be honest with you. It looks like any other action type game, that like a Team Ninja action type game.
It just looks like there's too much things to do, and I don't really like that type of game.
Right, and then what's the other one they got coming out, which actually does kind of pique my interest? Is Stellar Blade, I think, is the other one.
I don't want to get into that, but um, that might be a way to sale too. I don't like how sexualized the character is.
They did kind of go out of their way, didn't they?
It's purposeful and it's gonna sell copies because of it. But I'm gonna wait till reviews comes out before I check that out.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it does. Because again, the problem I have with it, like the combat looks good, but it once again just looks like any generic Team Ninja style action game to me, with like the added sex flare, like you said, like the sexy time flare.
Yeah,
Like that's pretty much
just
all it. That's pretty much all it is. And it just seems like I don't know. It seems like ever since Sony axed their Japan studio, it seems like they've really been having trouble like doing actual first party content aside from like your world carriers. You know, you've got your what is it called? Insomniac Games that literally is carrying that fucking company on its back right now.
yeah. There's got to be a reason why they said no first party games are coming until April 2025.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's
That's
wasn't
the micro
expected.
that's the Microsoft model, homie.
But guess what? PlayStation 4 Pro this year.
I the legacy of Andrew Ryan continues. And I just hope they can right the ship because here's the thing, like you need competition in the gaming space, man. You got to have it, and it just seems like the cheese stands alone with Nintendo right now. Like there's nothing even close. Microsoft seems to have corrupted Sony into their bullshit, and like I've never been less interested in a PlayStation system in my life. I'm gonna get the PlayStation 4 down the road. I guess I might as well get a PlayStation 5 if I'm gonna because doesn't the PlayStation 5 do everything the PlayStation 4 does and then also plays the 5 games, or is that not true? Because I want to make
No,
sure.
you can play PlayStation 4 games on it.
Okay,
It's not like perfect. Some games might have issues, but for the most part, like
okay.
95% of the library should work.
So here's where I'm at. So I've got a PlayStation 3 that has the PlayStation 2 backwards compatibility, right?
I want one of those, but those are so loud.
Oh God, it sounds like a fucking jet engine taking off in your house.
Yeah, plus they're too expensive for me to get anyway.
But I've got that. So then the PlayStation 5 would kind of complete it then because PlayStation 5 can play PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 3 games. So that basically gets me the last generation I didn't have.
The PS5 can't natively play PlayStation 3 games. It's you can only stream them. There's no way to buy them digitally,
Well,
or your
but that's
discs won't work.
okay. That's okay because I've got a PlayStation 3. So as long as it can natively play PlayStation 4 games off the disc,
Yeah, yeah, you can use the discs on those.
that's awesome because that'll allow me to play some of the shmup library that doesn't seem like I'll be able to play Battle Garega on my PlayStation 4 because I know that Battle Garega came to PlayStation 4 and it did not come to Switch because the Switch wasn't around when M2 Shot Trigger did that game. So
I'm just hoping that they somehow figure out how to get PlayStation 3, 2, and 1 games to work on PS5 like they did with Xbox. Even if it's emulation, I want to put my disc and
you
play
want to be able to pop your disc in and play the
because
fucking
I
game.
don't want to hook up multiple game systems just to play one game. That's why I haven't
No,
played Metal
yeah.
Gear Solid 4. I don't want to
That's
hook up my PlayStation 3.
same reason. It's in my closet right now. The whole setup.
Yeah, I still have mine in the box right now. So
Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's a fucking chore, isn't it? Like
right, yeah,
we really do get used to this convenience of being able to just play everything on one system. That's kind of why I do the Switch thing because there's so
yeah.
much.
I mean, if I could buy the NSO games on Switch natively, like if I could buy them digitally, I probably wouldn't have the Wii U because I would have Metroid Fusion, Metroid 2, Metroid, Super Metroid. But for now, the Wii U's still here because I can play the disc games, but also because the Virtual Console games that I bought.
Yeah, I missed the virtual console, man. I missed it something awful. It's also the reason that basically heel turned me on all digital games. Like I don't even fuck with digital games anymore because when the Wii came out, when it was back then it was codenamed the Revolution, and
Right.
it touted that ultimate backwards compatibility through Virtual Console, and they weren't fucking kidding, man. Like I've still
Um,
got my Chrono Trigger on that Virtual Console. I've still got Do Re Mi Fantasy, which was a Japanese only Super Nintendo joint. That's fucking amazing, dude. I've got so many goddamn Virtual Console games. I invested a ton into Wii Virtual Console. And then to turn around and there's no fucking account system and there's no way to get them over to any future systems. Fuck you guys, man. That's the last time I plunked down on any digital games.
I mean, eventually Nintendo did release that on Wii U, but I think it took a little bit. But I don't have my original Wii anymore, so I lost all that stuff. But I want to mod it so I can get more Virtual Console games on it.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. And honestly, that's where I'm at. Like I'm never one to like super advocate piracy. I'm not one of those guys. But if they're not willing to sell you the game on current hardware that is actually affordable. Like take the Thousand Year Door. Like you're never going to hear me argue that to pirate the Thousand Year Door because they're getting ready to sell the Thousand Year Door to you. That's fine. That's whatever.
Yeah,
But if you're not going to sell the game on accessible hardware, pirate the fuck out of that game, man.
yeah, that's kind of like how I felt about the Switch emulation
Mm-hmm.
issue. Like
100%, man.
those are currently available games, and unless the game is out of print or super rare and you can't get it, then I can understand. But seeing as it's a new system still, like you can still get the games. It's just why are you doing this? You're just
Yeah,
it's
it
you're
just
that
seems
because
like you're being an asshole.
well, yeah, they were selling access to it, and they were trying to like get around like, oh yeah, we'll sell you this and you can download this and all that. But it's just
Well, that's the thing. Like they're like, well, we never intended for this to. Yes, you motherfucker,
no,
you
it's
did.
just a generic statement. They got caught.
You absolutely did. You absolutely did. And Nintendo caught you with your pants down. You were fucked.
You know, and a lot of people were getting mad at Nintendo for that. I'm just like, you can
No,
still buy these games. Why are you
yeah,
having a problem with them?
no. I get mad at Nintendo when they shut down little fan projects. That pisses me off to no end. I get mad at Nintendo when they like attack ROM hacks. Like there's so many great fucking Metroid ROM hacks. As a Metroid guy, have you said you do some PC gaming, right?
Uh, Not really. I mean, I've
Okay.
played AM2R if that's what you're getting at, but otherwise,
That's the big one, yeah. But oh god, there's so many Mario World and Super Metroid, and even Zelda: A Link to the Past. Those game engines have been reverse engineered, have given us so much goddamn content on PC. Holy
yeah.
shit!
If I'm not really quite interested in that kind of stuff, I'll watch it on YouTube. But just me personally, I just don't see the. I don't want to play it personally.
Well, some of it, it's amazing what they can do. I don't like the harder stuff like the Kaizo Mario or like the what is it, Metroid Cliffhanger, which like the people who can play that fucking game, I guess that's what I've always asked for, which is a hard Super Metroid. But they went way fucking overboard in the hard department on Cliffhanger. Have you seen
Yeah.
Metroid Cliffhanger?
No, I haven't.
Oh, dude, yeah. Look up a YouTube video sometime when you get a chance. Just look up Metroid Cliffhanger, like quick play. Oh my god, like
Would
yeah, it's
imagine that you have to master the mechanics of the game.
oh absolutely like yeah. Wall jumping is not a choice anymore. Like it's not even a choice to do like the wall jumping and the all the what is it, the spark shine or screw attack. That's what it is. Yeah.
Well, seeing as Super Metroid controls pretty poorly, in my opinion, I probably won't check that out.
Yeah, no, it looks really rough, and I actually bring up a really good point. Like compared to a game like Dread, which is like fucking butter, um, yeah, I think we can now call it. And part of it was just the time, I guess, but it's definitely worth a call out to be like, yeah, you know what, Super Metroid actually doesn't control all that great. It really doesn't.
Y- Yeah, people were shocked when I said that Super Metroid is so low on my tier list, and it just comes down to the controls. I just don't think it controls well.
Where did you have Metroid on your tier list? I didn't see that. Where did you end up putting it?
No, I put it on Twitter, but let me pull it back
Yeah,
up.
let's see what yeah, I'm curious on that.
Because I don't think I deleted the post. Oh, here it is. I put one, two, three. I put Fusion, Prime, Dread, Samus Returns, Prime 2, Zero Mission, Metroid 2, and then right below Metroid 2 is Super. So kind of in the middle, slightly below middle.
What was your last one?
Federation Force because I never played it, but games I have played is Metroid NES.
Okay. No, I can understand that. As wrong as that opinion is, I get it. Um, you NES Metroid before Other M?
Uh, I I just exited out. Why you say this? I
Damn.
think no, I think I had. If I'm not mistaken, did I have it like that? I did. I don't remember.
Okay.
Let me pull it back up.
I say Other M is such a piece of shit.
No, yeah, I had other M above NES Metroid because
Damn. You're a
I, fe-
savage, bro.
I feel like it's more playable, and
I know, I get it. I totally get it. Um,
I can't go back to the NES game. It's too
God
dated.
damn, that's a bitch slap to the NES game. God damn.
Yeah, I appreciate what it did, but I can't play it anymore. The frame rate is terrible. The enemy placement is cheap. Just no map, which I can't do it.
The fake Kraid boss.
Well, yeah, I guess, yeah.
No, I mean you had to be there, man. Like literally that boss. The people because if you get to like the Torian entrance, it has like the different bosses, just like Super Metroid does. And so you could be mistaken back in the day before guides and shit because there's the other crate is hidden behind a fucking fake wall after that room. You could kill that boss and be mistaken as to thinking you've unlocked Torian and you haven't. You would have to go back, bomb the fucking wall behind him, and kill the real crate. That was such a piece of shit. Like,
Lovely.
oh yeah, no, that was fake boss. That game had fucking fake bosses.
I don't remember that too much. I mean, I
Yeah,
kind of know where to go on that game, but it's just I haven't played it in so long. I don't remember.
yeah, it was lit for sure. But and again, part of it is just maybe I was just there at the time, and it was like, whoa, there was nothing fucking like it at the time. And then literally part of it is kind of I remember literally drawing a map in order to help myself get through it. Never beat it as a kid, but I would draw the
Yeah,
map. And you're right about the enemy placement. The enemy placement is very cheap. I think that's a fair critique. Um, I think drawing the map kind of adds to it in a way. Um, the fake boss is fucking bullshit, but um, part of me always still loves the trick, and that's the kind of crazy shit that game pulled off. But yeah, I can see why modern gamers like if you take any modern gamer in particular, like, and you drop them cold turkey into NES Metroid, they're gonna look at me like I got a fucking third eye. They're like, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude?
yeah. It's
For sure.
just a rough experience nowadays.
Well, it's kind of like OG Final Fantasy, and I think that holds up a little better in the eyes of modern gamers because you can choose any character you want, etc. But it's another one of those things I tell people, oh, the OG Final Fantasy, and they're like, it's pretty rough, man.
I haven't played the collection yet, so I can't really comment on that.
Have you played any of the old OG Final Fantasies, or you still need to do all 6?
I need to do all 6, the 7 through 9 on Switch, 10, 12.
Yeah,
Right now, it's the only
I'm with you. I got the whole goddamn series, and I've played some of them, but
I've only played and currently playing the remake of Final Fantasy VII right now.
how is remake? I hear those are good.
I mean, if every Final Fantasy game played like that, then I'd probably be much more into the franchise than I am. I like the action style versus RPG, like turn-based.
Well, I hated 13, but you might try 13 out if you get an opportunity because it has like a similar action type feel. Not quite
If,
as good as 7. Um,
if I can find it cheap on PS3, because I know there's
yeah,
13,
I
13.2,
fucking
and
hated that game, but it wasn't because of the combat. The combat was actually pretty fucking good. If you connect with the story, you might love Final Fantasy 13.
well, I will try to find physical copies on
Yeah.
PS3.
Um, my friend Vince says I really need to give that game a second chance just because the story I hated every goddamn character in that story. Like I couldn't connect with anybody. If I can't connect with characters, it's like why am I fucking playing a Final Fantasy? Why don't I go play something good like a fucking shmup or something? But it
Yeah.
that's kind of what dropped me on that. But I'm fully aware that there's other people that would love the shit out of that game specifically because they're action RPG oriented. So yeah, I would definitely say to at least give it a shot if you can find it cheap.
I will keep that in mind.
Um, that's the thing. Like when people say like people said that about Final Fantasy 16 too. Everyone's like, "Oh, this game is shit." I played it. It's not my cup of tea. I didn't care for the game for the same reason. Like I hated the people in that world. I thought that they were all assholes. The way they treated the main character, the way they treated magic users, it drove me nuts, but the combat was really good, and nobody can say that's a bad fucking game. It might not be your cup of tea, it might not be the game you like, but it's obviously a quality product. It's not like shit mechanics that don't work, and it's not like the game crashes. Like I just feel like by and large, I try to be cognizant of that when I do my reviews. Like there is a difference between a game I don't like and a game that's bad. You get what I'm saying?
No, yeah, I get it. It's I don't know. It's a slippery slope. Some people have one method. Some people deal with it
Sure.
with another method. It's just I don't know. It's just depends on who you talk to, really.
So I mentioned in the past that I've also been banned for being a physical caveman. I literally got called a physical caveman and got blocked by I think it was Limit Breaking Hero that blocked me. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I
Just
don't
yeah,
recognize them.
out of nowhere, and yeah, it's just so funny when that shit happens. Like people are so fucking hair trigger on that platform anymore.
You
That
said
platform.
limit break?
Limit Breaking Hero, I think, is the one that blocked me. And again, no harm, no foul. Like if he didn't want to deal with my physical game stuff, like that's his choice. Like nothing but love, man. But it just seems like a kind of a bitch move to block somebody over a disagreement on physical video games.
Yeah, it's just some people just don't see the point of it, but I still do.
Oh, definitely. Like I absolutely love. I'll never be again, and they'll get their moment. Everybody has their moment. Like I told you mine, which is like, oh yeah, this entire library I dumped probably hundreds of dollars into, and yeah, you get stuck on the Wii. Yep.
Yeah.
Um, that was my come to Jesus moment there to be like, yeah, fuck this, fuck this. Every game I buy, I'm gonna be able to play it whenever I want to fucking pop it in. If I can't do that, I'm not fucking interested. The game doesn't exist to me. So you got
Yeah.
like Alan Wake 2. Alan Wake 2 still I people talk about this mysterious game, Corey, called Alan Wake 2. And it's like, boy, you know, it would sure be Alan Wake was an interesting concept. I would adore it if there was an Alan Wake 2 that actually came out. That'd be really fucking cool.
Yeah, I do too, but they kind of double down on the fact that they probably won't.
Yeah, so they just don't exist. So they're dead to me, and that's fine.
which doesn't make sense because Alan Lake Remastered got a physical version.
Yeah. Yeah, not on Switch though.
Yeah, which the Switch version's awful anyway.
Oh, so I'm not missing anything. Okay.
No, I have it on PS. No, yeah, I have it on PS5,
Does it?
and
I'm sure. Does it fare better on the PS5?
yeah, the Xbox and PlayStation 5
Okay.
versions are
I'll
great.
probably wait for my PS5 then.
Well, the game, the remaster is out of print.
That's okay.
Uh,
That's I got stupid money for stupid things. So
well, right now, pre-owned copies on Xbox are $39.
yeah,
PlayStation 4 copies are $40.
that's
PlayStation
fine.
5 copies are about $60 to $70.
That's fine. That's fine. As long as we don't get into like $700 territory, stupid ass
No, it
territory.
definitely won't be like that.
Like God damn, that still floors me.
Yeah, I bought the game at launch, and I wouldn't even justify spending $70 on the remaster.
Okay. Well, I definitely put it lower on my priority list.
Yeah,
How
haven't played
does
it yet.
oh, haven't played it. Okay, gotcha. Because that's the thing. Like, it looks interesting. Like, it looks really interesting as far as like it's like horror kind of Stephen King esque storybook. Because I dig a Stephen King story, like anybody who likes to read. But yeah, Stephen King does an occasional, especially his short stories are fucking fabulous. It'd be cool to see like a gamified version of that. But yeah, $70 is a little steep, like for sure. But I was gonna say I've done dumb shit like that before. I paid $99 for Esprit Psy, which is a fucking shmub.
I'm not really big on shoot 'em ups, but I've spent my fair share of money
Yeah,
on games.
every once in a while, man, I do the stupid thing. But and that's the thing with limited run games. So I was saying earlier that I still want to give limited run games my money, but the problem is that we got a little bit of a problem, Corey, and that is that they won't accept PayPal anymore, and their
Yeah,
stupid fucking purple dot won't accept either of my credit cards.
uh, Purple Dot, I haven't had issues with. Them removing PayPal, like the pay in four methods, I don't understand why, because that was very convenient
Yeah,
for me. So that's kind of limiting my personal pre-orders. Like I had to be more selective.
right. Well,
Um,
I'm just waiting for Video Games Plus now, but that's
yeah,
kind
I
of
was just gonna say that's if you don't want to pre-order it, most likely they'll get some stock.
yeah, it's kind of a crapshoot, but for the most part, they get most of the big stuff.
Yeah, that's how I got a few of my limited run
Hmm.
physical versions.
Yeah, that's kind of the only thing I can do because again, I want to give them my money and I literally can't give them my money.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure they are listening to feedback. Like they brought back PayPal, but in the UK.
I think that was a legal thing. I think they had to, if I remember, because Mila was telling me about that on Twitter, and she had mentioned that there was some kind of a legal hot water over removing those pay options,
Hmm, I
which
wonder
is it
why
because
it's not like
well,
that.
yeah, they're a lot more regulated there than they are here.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, because I just pre-ordered the High on Life game, uh, and I'm looking at the Grounded Fully Yoked edition.
Yeah, Grounded looks interesting to me, like Honey I Shrunk the Kids, the game.
Yeah, that's
Like,
I thought that was a live service game, but I don't think it is. I think it's
that's
just a
cool.
co-op game.
That's really cool. It's
So
kind of like It Takes Two,
right, and I might.
except hopefully all on the disc this time. That'd be great.
The fully yoked edition is the one that's when the Switch and PS5 get their digital copies. That's the update. So I think it's
Sweet.
probably gonna be like its one final update. And yeah, they have physical copies for Xbox, PS5, and Switch coming, and I probably get that on PS5 because I think the Switch version I don't think it's gonna look pretty good.
Right. I think I got my last game from Limited Run Games. Like it was This Way Madness Lies, Persona 3, and Persona 4.
I was debating on those, but I kind of passed on those because I'm not really big on that kind of thing.
Yep, those that might be my last shipment from them. I really wanted Rocket Knight too. I really fucking wanted Rocket Knight Adventures.
All right, yeah, I was debating on if I wanted to pre-order that, but I passed on it. And when VGP got their copies, it sold out.
Right.
And so, unless they get more copies, I'm not going to get that. Which it's not a big priority for me anyway, but it would have been cool to have.
Oh, Video Game Plus is already sold out of it?
As far as I know, I thought so. I haven't seen it come up, but yeah,
Oh, shit.
looking at my orders right now, I just have the High on Life. I canceled Devil Engine, but yeah, I just got High on Life
Devil
going
Engine
right
is
now.
a shmup. It's okay, man. It's
Yeah,
okay.
I looking into it, I just figured I wasn't gonna play it as much as I would have liked, and I bought it for PlayStation 5 as opposed to Switch. So but yeah, I give them my money, but I just wish that we got more games that I want them to make.
So let me go pre-orders. Let me go Switch real quick.
Yeah, right now there's not a whole lot. Like, where did it go? Shop. Yeah, for like instance, you can get that Rugrats game. They're a distributor, so you can get that on like Amazon, which is how I pre-ordered it. I've been thinking about RZ or however you pronounce that, but I'm probably gonna pass on that.
It looks interesting for sure.
Yeah, but I don't know. They extended the release date, like the pre-order date, but just I don't know how I feel about it.
Oh shit! We're getting a Corpse Party too?
I have no idea what that is, but I don't think I've heard that the first game didn't even get a physical version.
Correct. That's why I'm like, what?
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Very
Like
weird. Yeah.
kind of like Little Nightmares. Like the North American physical version got canceled, but then they released 2 physically, and then 3 will get a physical version. So I had to import the European version of that to have one on physical cartridge.
Oh, it looks like they had more Lacrimosa of Dawn and it sold out. The game is fucking always in and out.
Yeah, I haven't checked them in a while, but
Yeah, I'm
I
just checking
follow
it
them on.
right now. Yeah, Langrisser 1 and 2. That's another one that's glad I got that in the beginning. This is an Slave Zero X looks interesting to me.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like a prequel to the game on Dreamcast,
yeah,
which is kind of pretty cool. So I'll probably pick that up.
I'm thinking I'm gonna. I hear good shit about Gravity Circuit. Hear great shit about Gravity Circuit.
I can't remember what that is, honestly.
It's like a kind of a retro inspired like Mega Man type game.
Um, oh, yeah, I've been eyeballing that. That comes out in May.
Little Nightmares 3. So here's Little Nightmares 3.
That's gonna be a co-op game.
Oh shit, there's the SRB Space for the Unbound. It came here after all. I wasn't sure that was going to get an edition over here, so I got the Japanese one. But there it is.
Unbound.
Yeah, Space for the Unbound, it's called.
Oh, that isn't that like a. Oh, okay, that's not what I thought it was. Interesting.
It's an interesting game. It's a story driven experience. So not a visual novel per se, but it's more of like an adventure game where basically you're exploring this town. You're exploring a town in Indonesia, rural Indonesia. It's really neat.
It
And
sounds like A Night in the Woods or whatever that game is called.
that's a great actually that's a great parallel. Which I have that. I haven't played it, but I have that.
I only touched it a little bit. I need to play more of it.
Yeah, me too. Definitely want to get going on that. That's one. I was actually like that was one of those limited run games that got announced and got pushed back for whatever. That one didn't show up for like 3 fucking years, man.
Yeah, same with Hollow Knight. That got canceled before it came
Yeah,
out.
yeah. Then it got Silk Song, which I feel like a clown every time that fucking game comes up.
I think everybody is. Like, I haven't played Hollow Knight, but I mean, I'll
Oh
play
man,
it once I get a
so
release date for
fucking.
the sequel.
It's that's fair. And tell Team Cherry that, like, hey, I'll play your game when you actually put a fucking release date out for this game that you've been developing for six years and it just never shows up. Like
Right.
it's like I literally it's like the it's like the meme of the Hollow Knight sitting on the bench with his clown nose and his clown wig. This
Yeah, that's
costume
how I
from
feel about
Metroid
new
Prime 4.
Metroid announcements. Yeah,
Yeah, 100%. It's like, oh, let me get my clown wig on and my nose while I wait for something that's never coming.
that's how I felt since 2010.
So Chill Collect says, "Yeah, I'm picking up Gravity Circuit." Me too, homie.
Yeah, I'll probably check that one out. I like how colorful it is.
Really, really pretty. So Gravity Circuit. Then there's another one that someone told me about that's got a Play Asia. Is it called Lin? I think it's called.
Didn't hear about that.
Yeah, well, I might not even have the right name. Video game name, Lin. Video game. Let's see. Now let me go to Play Asia. Because now I'm curious. Now it's gonna drive me nuts because I know that's not the right name of that game. So it's called. Oh wow, they've got a Hatsune Mickey fitness boxing game on Play Asia.
That's exciting, huh?
Fucking hilarious. Thousand Year Door. There's DOJ, which is the greatest shoot 'em up of all fucking time. By the way, if you're gonna get a shoot 'em up right now on both PlayStation 4 and on Switch, Do Don Pachi Blissful Death Reincarnation, DOJ. If you're gonna get any singular shoot 'em up, that's probably the best shoot 'em up of all fucking time. Not even kidding. That
I'll
game
note
is
that.
fucking incredible.
Duly noted.
Then Lisa Definitive Edition. It's called.
What does that one entail?
Yeah, Lisa Definitive Edition. So let me pull this up. I'll kind of read the premise to you. It's make ruthless choices that permanently affect towns, characters, and life. 100 plus unique character battles. Recruit 30 party members in towns and camps. Discover countless hidden secrets in the world of Olaf. So basically, this is a post-apocalyptic game that is there's only men and there's no women anywhere to be found except one woman.
That's the dream. No,
And that's the premise of the game. And
that's only on Switch.
Yep, won't go into anything besides that because anything beyond that it's pretty crazy. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. Did you like the Binding of Isaac?
Not really.
Not really.
I'm not big on roguelikes.
Yeah, I would. So I would say that Lisa probably wouldn't be your speed, probably not your tempo. Um, Probably wait on that if at all. Because it's
Well,
gonna be
some of these pictures are really weird.
That's what I'm saying. It gives off the same vibes as like the Binding of Isaac. So yeah, if you enjoyed Binding of Isaac, it's probably one you want to look into. If you didn't, I would I would
Yeah,
I would backlist it.
I'm just not big on the die, lose everything type of thing.
Yeah, those are fun. Those are fun, and I say that with like gritting my teeth.
Yeah, like I have Returnal on PlayStation 5. I still need to finish that. I've had that since that came out. I haven't beaten
So
it.
so iPatch Wolf said that there's games that are challenging and games that are punishing and games that are cruel, right? 3 types of game difficulty. Challenging games are games that have high mastery. So it takes a lot to master them. But they have a fairly low risk. In other words, if you die, you like think of a game like Celeste, where if you die, you start right back immediately where you died from, right? Or
Yeah.
from the nearest point where it won't
Excuse me.
send you into a death loop is where you start. So that would be a game that's challenging. Then you have games that are punishing. These are games that, while they might not be the most difficult games in the world, if you die or if you lose everything. You're back to scratch. There is a serious penalty for fucking up or failing. So think Hades, for example, would be a punishing game, right? And then you've got a game that is both challenging and punishing. And that's
That
where you
doesn't
get,
sound like fun.
yeah, that's where you get your Dark Souls. That's where you get actually Fear and Hunger. The Fear and Hunger game is the one that just is incredibly crazy to me.
Yeah, that just makes me not want to play Dark Souls now.
Well, Dark Souls ain't got shit on Fear and Hunger. Fear and Hunger this is a game that like clearly hates its players' guts. It hates your guts, man. Like, let me walk you through a typical experience playing Fear and Hunger. Okay, let me just walk you through a narrative experience of this. You start your game, and you walk into the dungeon of fear and hunger. You run into an ogre, and it initiates a coin flip attack, which you lose. You are then beaten to a bloody pulp, where you are then left in a cell in a river of blood, literally lying with only one arm. Both your legs are gone, one arm. You can only crawl from this point forward. As you crawl through the bloody corridor, you find a severed head, which awakes and begins summoning something. You try to talk to the severed head. It does nothing. You try to attack the severed head. It does nothing. Finally, the demonic presence behind the statue that is the severed head that it summoned shows up and crushes you with great pressure. You are now bounced back to the start screen again.
I don't know what to say. That just
That is literally how it feels to play Fear and Hunger.
now I know what not to play.
I wouldn't say not to play it. So, and the reason for that is because once you realize the ins and outs of the game system, like for example, I was running for my life from an ogre, right? Knowing that an encounter with this ogre would probably end my fucking game. And in my panic, I went through my inventory, sifted through it, and found a bear trap and laid the bear trap on the ground, which promptly cut the ogre's legs off, making it easy to avoid or easy to get a headshot on it if I did happen to have a combat encounter with it. And that's when the fucking game opened up to me, man. And I just went, whoa. Suddenly it all opens up. This game where the enemies give you 0 experience points when there's no point in most battles.
That's always fun to
Yeah,
not play the game.
yeah. But it's not an RPG. It's an immersive sim. It's basically taking your knowledge of the world. The currency in that world is knowledge of the world, knowledge on how to use the random items, because everything you get in the game is randomized. Knowing how to utilize what the game gives you to the best of your ability, knowing how the world operates, knowing what rules work, and knowing how to engage with the various monstrosities in the Dungeon of Fear and Hunger. That is the actual gameplay, not the actual battling system itself. You shouldn't be fighting shit in that unless you absolutely have to. Like, your goal is to get in, get the fucking prisoner Lagarde, and get the fuck out of there. But it is despite its unfairness, and it is an absolutely unfair game. It is strangely compelling in a way I can't describe.
I mean, I think you described it pretty well, and it's just that sounds kind of brutal.
It's not for everybody. It's but Super Eye Patch Wolf, if you want to watch a really good documentary, because he's one of the best storytellers on YouTube. There's a type in it's Super Eye Patch Wolf, and it's the cruelest video game. It's called, and it's just him kind of walking through his experience playing that game. And he tells it a lot better than I do, but holy shit, man. Like
You
that.
said Eye Patch Wolf?
Super Eye Patch Wolf is one of the so Super Eye Patch Wolf is his name is John Walsh. He's a content creator. He covers anime, video games, pro wrestling, and he is one of the most compelling storytellers. And like, you want to talk about like the final boss of like great YouTube content? Like, this dude's up there with like a fucking H Bomber guy in terms of video production quality. The videos are fantastic. His storytelling is fantastic. Like, this is like a god tier content creator. Like, this is one of the goats, man. So anytime Eye Patch Wolf puts a video out, I'm fucking there day one. It doesn't matter. Like, he could be talking about a bad experience with like Dell customer service. He's like a Jenny Nicholson or like a H Bomber guy. Like, I don't give a fuck what he's talking about. I gotta be there. I gotta watch it.
Is Dell still a thing?
It was for Super Eye Patch Wolf because he had a crazy experience ordering. He's trying to order a new PC with Dell, and part of it was his own damn fault, but part of it was also just it was just a comedy of errors. Like, he ordered a mechanical drive instead of selecting a solid state drive. And so his new
cool.
his new PC that he ordered is slower than the old PC he was replacing it for.
That's Yeah, that's messed up. Yeah.
And then he couldn't get a return on it, or he couldn't. Oh, it was amazing. Yeah, it was because he had already passed the warranty. It's a whole video, like his descent into madness on trying to deal with Dell customer support.
Uh, yeah, that's I can imagine that'd be pretty difficult, and that sucks.
Well,
He
especially
probably
because
just
yeah, he lives in Ireland, and there was no customer service number for Ireland, and it kept looping him endlessly to like something he didn't need because they didn't
uh,
actually have an Irish customer support number.
uh, did he at least sell it and get like another one?
Well, he details that. I don't want to spoil the ending, but because he's super eye patch wolf, and he even talks about how guilty he felt about it. Like basically, he went on Reddit and asked for help, and because he's a million plus sub channel, this actually drew their actual customer support like fixer attention. So he got contacted by a closer. He got contacted by like one of their fixers, which is like their elite fucking special ops customer service. Like the lady has one fucking job, and that job is to make John and his problem go away. And she does it.
I mean, that's the happy ending, I guess, right? But that's
Uh-huh. She does it. She succeeds. But he
I
felt
just
bad because he's like, if I wonder that if I wasn't if I was not a content creator, or I was a smaller content
yeah, you'd be
creator,
screwed.
would I have been left in this hell that I've created for myself?
Yeah, probably.
And the answer, and John, the answer is probably, homie. But but if you have it out, take it. Like that's one of those things. You're not taking money off people. Like if your clout gives you an out, fucking run with that shit. Run like the fucking wind, man.
I definitely would.
Yeah, I'm not. I
I
mean,
agree.
I'm very clear with my channel. I have no interest in monetizing. This is all a hobby to me. No matter how big or small it stays. Like, but if I ran into something like that, and I literally just posted help and help arrived, I'm not gonna fucking turn that away. Ain't no fucking way.
Yeah, definitely. I
So,
wouldn't either.
all right. Well, let me refill the glass. I almost forgot to talk about what I was drinking. So I've got the Hennessy XO here, and it's starting to get some cotton mouth because actually I've been yapping too fucking long. I haven't refilled my glass. So I'm going to go briefly. I'll be right back. This shouldn't take too long at all because bar's right over there.
I'll be right here.
All right. Be right back. All right. I'm back.
Woohoo!
So,
I didn't go
okay.
nowhere.
So, other than that, like, yeah, you've got, so yeah, I got that going on. Did you ever happen to see, did you see H Bomber Guy's video on like the, um, the plagiarism thing going on with YouTube?
Uh, no, I don't. I honestly don't kind of follow that kind of drama stuff.
Well, this isn't necessarily drama. This is like just an essay on like just how, because it's not like one or two tubers. It's like fucking everybody, man. Like it's wild.
Yeah,
Like
I
the,
honestly have no idea.
yeah, basically it's just the extent of how massive plagiarism is, just not only on YouTube but like everywhere. And it's pretty wild. It makes me kind of double check my work when I'm making like my Switch videos and shit now. Like I had one thing where I'm working on this Batman review. And so the whole premise of it basically is it's like Batman in Arkham Asylum essentially becomes the basically he's like the failed he in and of himself is like a failure of the concept of Jeremy Bentham's Panopticon. And so it's just a quick added step that I learned from that video, which is like Batman, Bentham, Foucault, Panopticon, click on Nexus Lexus. Oh, 0 results. Cool. I'm go. I didn't do the plagiarism. It's like one of those things now, where before I would just put my video up and run with it. But yeah, apparently it is super easy, and most of it's accidental. But it's like literally like every fucking YouTuber, basically. Like it's
Well, I'll have to note that if I do create videos, because I definitely don't want that.
well, and the good, yeah, exactly. And the good news is like with you doing things like speed runs or let's plays, that's literally it's almost impossible. Because like that's literally your own content, your own run, like your own playthrough.
No,
But
you're gonna tie somebody, and they're like, "What the heck?"
yeah, you plagiarized, but no, where it really gets into the weeds is when you're doing like academic stuff, or when you're doing like when you're tying ideas together, your video essays, that kind of shit. That's where it really gets hairy. Which, ironically enough, when I'm not doing my own let's plays, that's basically, and when I'm not doing these liquored up lives, which yeah, fat chance this being fucking plagiarized, a fucking live combo, like a live off the cuff combo. But
Yeah,
when you get into video essays, that's where it gets really fucking dicey. And
yeah.
it's also why, and again, to anybody, if there's any content creators watching that that I frequent, like it's why sometimes it takes me a while to get to your videos. I do get to everybody's videos. The problem is if you're doing a video essay and it's about a game I've got a future play on the Switch, last thing I want to watch is your stuff, because now my shit, like even like by osmosis, not even meaning to, like now the idea is there if I've watched your shit.
Right, I mean, everybody borrows ideas. It's just how you present them yourself.
Right, right. It's how you present them, and if you do happen to utilize or build on an idea, make some of your own points, and give credit where credit's due. That's all people ask, and apparently, like it's just not happening. And so the joke is that H Bomber guy basically ended YouTube because he goes over like 14 high profile recent cases with like some of these YouTubers or million plus sub YouTubers.
You'll have to link me in a DM because I
Yeah,
am curious, but I didn't hear anything about it.
it's wild. Yeah. It's just one of those things. Like H Bomber guy's a guy that drops a video maybe once every 1 or 2 years. But when he drops a video, it's always like a fucking event. Like the last one was basically dealing, it was Roblox.oof. And it was him basically talking about like Tommy Tallarico, the Amico Vision, and him trying to patent the oof sound in Roblox. And what a fucking rabbit hole that was, too. Like,
Yeah, I heard about that one at least.
holy shit. Um, and then so every time he kind of just drops a neutron bomb on the YouTube landscape about once a year. Where Eye Patch Wolf, he's a little bit more frequent. He posts, maybe you might get 4 or 5 videos from Eye Patch Wolf a year, but they're all just immensely good quality. Like you can tell some fucking work goes into these goddamn things. It's aspirational. It's genuinely aspirational. I'll never be that fucking good. I'll never be patient enough to be that good at YouTube. But I'm
Yeah, I
not.
don't.
But I'm not trying to be either. Like
Yeah, I don't got the patience for that kind of stuff.
right, and they're trying to do it for a living. Like they're trying to do the YouTube for a living, and I'm not. So I guess if you want money, you kind of have to be that good.
I mean, yeah, that'd be cool, but I don't see that happening for me.
No, no. Like, and again, I'm not seeking out. I'm actively saying I'll never monetize. So I've already kind of walled myself into a corner anyway. But and even if I did get big, and again, my content's not fucking good enough to get that big. Um, yeah, I don't necessarily know that I'd want it because it comes with a lot of bullshit. There's some member who's pretty big in the JRPG community. Have you ever heard of Miss Bubbles?
I have not.
So Miss Bubbles basically, she was trying to get a collaboration set up, and basically clicked on the wrong email, and it literally like hijacked her channel and did monumental damage to her fucking channel. And it's awful what happened to her. But yeah, that's the kind of shit that you run into when you're trying to do this as a business, and it fucking sucks.
Yeah, you just gotta watch the BS. I know that it's very finicky. You can't really trust people, that kind of stuff. It's
It makes you not want to trust anybody except people like you can vet for yourself. Like the people I have on here are all people I've had basically good rapport with on Twitter or elsewhere. But yeah, I don't really tend to bring in a lot of outsiders for that specific reason because like fuck, like there's this one troll like that I was going back and forth and kind of going back and forth with the bants on, and I even thought about bringing him on that way we could just go all out war on each other here live. But the more I think about it, it's like, no, is this dude going to be responsible with his banter, or is he going to start dropping some big boy words that I don't really
yeah,
want?
he'll probably start going crazy. Like say some words you don't want to hear.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And so not only do I not want to fucking put up with that personally, because I put up with zero of that shit. But number two, like, yeah, you're doing that on my channel. It's gonna get my fucking channel yeeted, homie. And
Right.
that's why he would
That
do it.
that's probably why. Yeah, he
Yeah.
probably would have
So,
done it.
well, not to mention the guy is like a legit like racist jerk type guy. Like this guy sucks. And
Sounds like a fun person.
no, literally all this guy does, like every video this fucking guy does is like about other small content creators and like just mouthing them and calling them things and threatening sexual assault on them. I'm not even kidding. Like he's a real piece of work. But
12 guy.
yeah, that's why I thought about it. Like, hey, why don't you come on the fucking show, bitch? You want to talk shit? But if he was on the show, you're right. He would do exactly that. Like he would,
So it's definitely not worth it.
yeah, he would derail the channel. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep it to people that I know and that I trust. And like if I have a good rapport with you, if I got a good basically if it's a vibe check, basically. Like if I get good vibes out of you, anybody like and chill, you got to come on too at some point, man. Yeah, if I get good vibes from you, fuck, I'll come on have a combo with you. Um, but if you don't pass the vibe check, got to cast you out, man. And this guy would definitely fit that bill. And pretty
Yeah,
much any troll, I guess. Don't bring trolls on would be my lesson in that.
I just don't know what I would like what who would say what or whatnot. Like it just you never know what people are thinking or what they
Yeah,
might do to
I
you.
would love to have one of my trolls or detractors on to just shit talk each other like responsibly, if that even makes sense. It probably
I
doesn't.
I mean I get what you're saying, but I still wouldn't just me
Right, because
personally, I just
yeah,
couldn't I
because
wouldn't do it.
what's gonna happen is they're gonna say some real dumb shit, and
Even
that's
besides the dumb stuff, I just
what's the point?
let them say their words
Yeah,
and just move on.
yeah. There's no point in having a big fist fight with them on on live fucking spar, But
Yeah, some people are funny like that, but some people can also be pretty nasty.
so aside from gaming and aside from getting banned by
Ooh,
crybabies,
excuse me.
what have you been up to?
Banned by oh, you mean blocked?
Blocked, yeah.
Uh, um, just work. I've been just buying a lot of nonsense that I shouldn't be, but I do because it's fun.
Well, if gaming's not to have fun, what the fuck else is it for?
Yeah,
Um,
right. Just I don't know. I'm not really an exciting person. I work, come home, play a game or two, wait for my girl to come home. That's about it.
that's my kind of people, man. What do you mean you're not excited? That's my kind of
Yeah,
people.
yeah. I might see my real life friends tomorrow.
Okay.
Probably should because it's been a while. But I mean, otherwise, just chilling out, relaxing, all cool. Not seeing
Yeah,
some people outside of the school because it's too cold.
I'm gonna. Yeah, it's really fucking cold right now where I'm at too.
It's
This
not
weekend
quite spring
overall,
weather.
try to do some spring cleaning a little bit. Probably play some Morrowind because I can't fucking stop playing that game. It's really killing my reviews. And then this Sunday I've got to hide Easter eggs for the little ones. So I got a niece and
Yeah,
a nephew. I'm gonna hide Easter eggs so they can go on their Easter egg hunt. That'll be a fun time.
yeah. Going on her mom's house for Easter, but that's really about it. My parents aren't here, and we still gotta like plan stuff for weddings and all that shit.
Gotcha. Now I did see. Now your girl, does she have like a reading channel or is that just an interest she posts on Twitter?
Yeah, she's not very active on Twitter anymore.
Okay,
She just
gotcha. Because I
but
know
yeah,
I noticed she had like a reading type deal, and I'm into books, so like if she's got a
yeah,
channel and she wants to shout it
she
out,
used to post a lot of like book stuff, but yeah, she
okay.
just She kind of dropped off. I think she only uses it to follow like 1 or 2 people, and that's about it.
So yeah, I mean, well, honestly, to be quite frank, X is it's a mess anymore.
Yeah, I don't do well with that kind of stuff. I don't talk to anybody much. Like,
Am I the only one who gets constant pussy and bio bots now?
no, the bots are wonderful, and I
I thought
adore
that
them every single day.
I thought that's why this motherfucker bought the platform was to
Don't get me
debot it.
started, man. Don't get me started.
Okay, I'm just saying, like,
That
wasn't that the reason? And then
was the reason, but
it's
his
worse than ever.
his solution is probably going to be a paid subscription.
Well, the moment that happens, I'm outie. Like, I'm
Yeah,
not paying. This motherfucker is never paying for Twitter.
yeah. I no
Never paying
plans
you
to
for
pay
Twitter.
for a
Ever.
service like that.
Ever. Like, I
Yeah,
don't know.
I have people that like me, and I like them too. It's just it's not worth the hassle.
It's not worth the $5 or whatever. It's not. Especially since like every day I've got to block 50 fucking pussy and bio bots.
Yeah, and they 50 more come. It's wonderful. I love
What
it.
the fuck?
I
Um,
have I don't know why.
so part of me thinks like this might be the biggest tax write-off in history that he's angling for.
I mean the richer love to get rich, so
It's the only thing I can think of because I can't think of why the fuck else you would spend that much goddamn money on something and just to drive it into the fucking dirt.
I don't know. And I really wish that I could find out what he was thinking, but I don't really care to know.
Are you sure you want to be in that brain? Like,
No, I freaking
some
no.
wild ass shit there.
I don't even want to be in the same room as him. Bad enough that I do Tesla parts at work, so
Well, so my understanding are Teslas are okay cars, like, but
I
I,
mean,
I mean,
yeah, but
I have
I
no
don't like the
interest.
man, so I don't like supporting.
No, I get that too. And again, I don't know. It just seems like it's unnecessary to me. Like, again, I come from, I'm very frugal. Not with video games, guys. Now with money in general, outside of video games, I'm actually pretty frugal. And so if you could see my fucking car, like, it's nothing to write home about.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, I buy my stuff, but otherwise I don't try to spend money.
yeah, it's yeah, I don't go out of my way. To me, like I've got a decent amount of money, but to me, new cars are rich people stuff. Like literally. Like if you're
Yep,
driving around in a new car, like I hope you're rich because it's a rapidly diminishing liability. It's not a fucking
I
asset.
have such bad luck with cars. I wish I could sell mine.
Oh no. Okay. So
I've had this year alone. I've had like 5 or 6 nails that I've had to get removed.
what the fuck? Are you serious?
Yeah, I think it's where I work, but still, yeah, it's just I've had such bad luck. And in my
Damn, dude.
previous car, I've had bad luck with nails and tires and stuff. It's just
You need to get some
not worth it.
fucking. You need to get some fucking Batman tires on that shit.
I want to get those rubber wheels, like those mesh rubber wheels, but
Uh huh.
those aren't mass produced.
Right. You get fucking tank treads on those
All
motherfuckers.
right, I'm so over it. You have no idea.
Well, but shit, I'm sorry to hear that, man. That sucks. Most I've had is I did have some engine trouble early on with this one. I was worried this one was going to be a lemon, but it turned out to be okay. But
A lemon. That's
yeah, that's what we call them, lemons, when the car just doesn't fucking run or it just eats money constantly.
gotcha.
Yeah,
Didn't
there's
know
a
that.
yeah, it's a Midwest thing. We call them lemons here in Illinois. When the
I
car
mean,
just
I'm in
doesn't work
Michigan,
out.
so I've
Oh, so
never
you're
heard it
close.
called.
You're close to me.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
never heard it called that.
Now where are you at in Michigan? Are you northern Michigan or are you on southern Michigan? Where you at?
No, I'm outside Detroit.
Outside Detroit. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I could definitely see because I've been to Detroit. I could definitely see why nails might be a problem.
Yeah, like
Um,
I work at a car parts factory, so I mean that's probably why.
well, I'm just glad to see that they're still employing people in the auto industry in Detroit.
Well,
That's
I'm not. It's not thing like substantial like that. It's just
okay.
it's like a prototype thing. They make the parts, and if they like them, then they go ahead and order more and just like test them out and all that stuff.
That's really interesting. So now, do you service all the different American automakers, or do you service international? Or
It's just whatever company decides they want to do stuff. Right now, I think Ford is on pause.
okay,
And I know that we're going to be starting to make gaming chairs out of all things, so that's just going to be weird.
interesting. So kind of getting into some new territory there. Okay.
Yeah, but that's just them. I don't make any
Now,
decisions like
now, are
that.
you guys like, are you R&D process? Are you manufacturing? What specific
No, it's
part of the?
just prototypes.
You just do you're prototyping. Okay, so
Yeah,
your R&D and stuff. Okay, that's interesting. That's really interesting, man.
yeah. I'm nothing like I don't personally do that. I package
No,
things.
you work in the business, right?
Yeah, I'm in the factory thing.
Yeah, I mean, I can.
Whew.
It's been a long time since I've been that. I'm executive leadership now in the company I work for, but it's I'll tell you what, some of the most fun I ever had actually was one of my first jobs. It was actually a fucking meat cutter, if you can believe that shit.
I think my dad used to do that before he joined the Navy.
Be kind of blasted. You want to talk about meeting some interesting motherfuckers? Like work in the back of a meat room. Like construction work ain't got shit on meat cutters, man. They're wild. That's a wild bunch of people.
I'll note that. I don't want to get in a fight with them though. That's for sure.
Yeah, they're well. One of my favorites. Like, and this is actually like this is a real fucking combo with a meat cutter with a senior meat cutter. So I'm in the back and I'm on pan detail. So basically, there's these pans where you put your meat on, you take it, you get it wrapped up. So I was cleaning the pans because I was one of the newer meat cutters, and Vince, this older meat cutter, comes up. He goes, "So I bet you didn't know, college boy, that when you're going light speed, warp speed, you're actually time traveling."
And you're just like you're crazy.
Well, I'm just like, "What?" He goes, "Well, think about it." He said, "If if I'm going light speed, if I'm going warp speed, and all those people back on Earth, they're going regular speed, they're going normal speed. So when you get back from your space mission, you'll still be young, and all of them will be old. That's time travel."
Yeah, so he's loopy.
Well, this is long before. This is way before Interstellar. I think is the name of the movie. This is way before Interstellar, the Christopher Nolan joint. They kind of experimented with that a little bit. There was that one, and then there was also there was one of our meat clerks had a kid who was scared of the shadow his ceiling fan was making. Right, that's all it was. So the kid was screaming at night, and so this other meat cutter comes out, and he's like, "Well, I think your house is haunted." And he's like, "Get the fuck out of here, whatever." He's like, "No, for real, hold on." He goes back, he gets a ghost book. I'm not even kidding you, Corey. And he comes out and he's like, "See, now, what you probably have is just a run of the mill poltergeist, pretty common. But if you're really unlucky, you might have yourself an Esper." And you could hear a fucking pin drop. And we're just standing there. And Nick goes, "What the fuck is an Esper?"
What the hell are you
And
talking about?
he goes, "Esper's a nature spirit. They control storms and such. You could be in big trouble if you got one of them in the house."
Got that tinfoil hat on too tight, huh?
That's literally what's going on. It's like, what the fuck? Me and Nick just looked at each other like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, there's some, like I said, some wild people that work in meat. Wild ass fucking people.
Hey.
Like, they are some of the most interesting characters I ever met. Like,
Doesn't sound like something I'd be interested in.
not even close. Like, it's just, well, it's just the shit that would come out of some of their mouths was just incredible. Like, literally, this motherfucker literally had, like, in his locker back in the back, he had a book on ghosts. Like
So
this
you
big,
truly believe in that?
thick ass book on like different varieties of ghosts and what are you doing? How the fuck do you have that?
You're right.
Like, all
Got
right.
it.
Well, I guess do you have any questions for me here? Because I always like to give the guests an opportunity to kind of pick my brain if you have anything you want to ask me or talk to me about.
Honestly, no, I think we covered a wider variety of stuff than we did last time.
Oh, round two is always fun. Round two is just shooting the shit, man. Round one's always kind of an interview, whereas round two, like now we know each other, it's just shooting the shit and having a good old convo. So
Yeah, but
check the
I mean,
chat. I think we're good. They're all in bars. It's Friday night. They're all in fucking bars. What the fuck you guys doing here? So
it's 9 o'clock. It's bedtime.
oh, is it not okay? Yeah, it's 9 o'clock where you're at. So all righty, homie. Well, yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it up then. Thank you everybody for coming out. I really appreciate it as always. And we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna wrap the stream up. And if you want to stay on just briefly here with me, Corey, and then I'll shoot you some of those links. And I love everybody. Thanks for coming out, Mark. Thanks for coming out too and checking it out, supporting your boy. We appreciate it. And all right, guys, see you later. Get the fuck out
Have
of
a
here.
nice night.